Yeah, guys, just so you know, I'm recording because I had a number of people say, hey, I can't make that very first one. Can you, get us up to speed? So we'll have to decide if we're going to record them going forward or not. But today, for sure, we're just recording for that purpose. So sorry, Michelle, to interrupt you.
Oh, it's okay. So I loved braiding sweetgrass, and I finished Die Wise, and I did not. It's an excellently written book, but I didn't like the subject matter. And yeah, I have an elderly parent that is in the process of passing and in palliative care. And so I read Die Wise to kind of learn what I could about what there is to be done for our elders at the end of our lives.
Mhm.
And I just didn't like it, but it was an excellent book.
Yeah, it seems kind of heavy.
Oh, good stuff. Really good. Heavy subject matter. Yes.
Yeah. And the one that you loved, why don't you go ahead and type it in the chat so people can
Okay.
look it up. But what did you love about it? What kind of book was it?
Oh gosh, Braiding Sweetgrass is a botanist who and professor who talks about her Native American heritage, but she does it through the perspective of traditions and her honoring of the land and the plant life and the people and all of that. And it's I did it in a book club group, but I raced ahead and did. I just loved it so much that I finished it before the first meeting. So
Ooh,
it was great.
Good. Yeah, definitely add that to the list so we can all add to our list. Tammy, you ready? You're muted though. Let's unmute.
So the book I didn't like was The Beekeeper's Promise, and I don't know, I read the first 5 pages and it was just really boring. It was supposed to be good. It was by Fiona Valpy. I don't know, but it was, I don't know, it just, some books are just really boring. And the other one I started and it's good it's about, I think it's about Hedy Lamarr, and she's an actress and a spy in World War II. And I just started it. But
so far so good.
Yeah. But
okay,
I forgot
awesome.
the name of it.
Did you say you forgot the name of it?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Hey guys, I'm Gilbert.
Hi Gilbert, welcome. I was just going to say hello. I'm glad you're here. So I just asked everyone sharing with us right now their last favorite book and the last book that they hated or didn't love. So, well, I just want to kind of do some little housekeeping up front before we kind of dig into our first book, Lady in the Tribe. And so this book club is called Ms. Midlife, and it is going to be, we're going to be focusing on the genre of, nonfiction for self-discovery, personal growth, connection to purpose and passions. And, as a group, when we get close to the end of this book, which is probably going to only be 2 or 3, gatherings, we will together select the next book. So get your thinking caps on. If you know of any good, nonfiction, personal growth type of books or personal inspiration kind of books, just put them on a list and we will all kind of just decide what we want to read next when we kind of come to the close of this one. And we're going to begin each of our meetings at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time and go until 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And we'll start with just a few minutes of visiting and saying hello. So we'll dive into the book discussion shortly, maybe 10 or 15 minutes into the call. So and you just beat me to it, John. We're going to only meet monthly. So it'd be great. I'm sure everyone would appreciate, regular attendance. And we are going to allow, especially this first week or month or so, to allow other members to join until it gets to, we're going to keep it at a manageable level of people, not too many. We want to keep it a nice size group. So go ahead and invite a friend, if you'd like to join in. They can easily catch up. It's a pretty quick and easy read, if I do say so myself. But our next meeting is April 12th. So it's going to be the second Wednesday every month from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Mountain. For this round, I will be inviting special guests. Since this is my book, I'm going to be inviting some special guests throughout each meeting to kind of share some insights because they're a part of the book in some way. And like I said before, I am recording this very first meeting because I do have a handful of people just says, seems like that always happens. But we're going to have to decide as a group, is it okay to just record these? So in case someone misses one or is late and wants to just catch up, if that's okay, it's okay with me, but I'm going to ask you all to take a vote at the end to see if that's okay with you. All right. Or maybe we'll vote at the beginning of the next meeting, something like that. So since we're meeting virtually, that presents its own kind of issues. So I just want to kind of establish some general ground rules and Zoom etiquette. Of course, we'd love to see your face if possible. It's not mandatory. If you are if your face is on and you're walking around and stuff, go ahead and turn your camera off if you're walking around, because it kind of gets distracting for everybody else who's kind of trying to pay attention to the speaker. But we'd love to see your faces. When you're not speaking, go ahead and mute your microphone, because sometimes people will barge into my office and blah, and I don't want to disrupt a meeting. So that kind of just happens sometimes. Be aware. Let's see, the Zoom reactions. I see that Gilbert and John both knew them already, but there's a reactions button in the bottom line if you're not familiar with Zoom. And you can do all kinds of fun things like raise your hand if you want to say something, thumbs up. Yeah, I see it. Laughing, anything that you feel that your heart feels. If you don't want to unmute and say it, just go ahead and throw it up there. I love it. Okay, so please read the assigned chapters, if at all possible, prior to the meeting so you can fully participate. And no spoilers, please. You're free to go ahead and read the whole thing if you like. Get ahead, but limit your comments and your conversation on the assigned chapters, and let's just stay on topic. We're going to start and end on time. And the only other rule is let's be kind and have fun. So with that, one other thing I wanted to just put out to the group, if we're going to have regulars, is if we would like to trade off responsibilities like leading or hosting. And I'd like to propose that we establish, a host for each book that we select. And that someone that's just kind of facilitate a little bit, but then we offer the group to be in charge of a chapter or something, just to kind of lead the discussion. We don't have to do that, and I'm leading absolutely today, but I just want to propose that. You can think about that. Number one goal is to create a respectful space for everyone to just enjoy books together and grow a little bit, hopefully. So again, the next book, if you have anything in mind, you can always throw it in the chat here and we can just start noodling on it for months ahead. We might want to follow a theme or a focus or a topic for a few meetings. We might want to stick to the same author for a bit or jump around. Basically we have no rules here. We can decide. So let's dig into our first book. Do we all have the book yet? I know some people were kind of waiting to get it. You have the book? Raise your hand. Great. Okay, awesome. So I guess my first question to everyone for discussion, when you first saw the cover, did the book's contents fit the cover? What did you think of the cover when you first took a look at it?
I can answer this one.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, I was really inspired by the cover. It's beautiful. It's very inclusive. It's really super colorful. And so maybe it's a chick thing, but I was super attracted by it. I thought it was representative of like all the concepts coming together and under one big, beautiful dress tree. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. And I'll get into it a little bit of that design cover as far as the purpose behind it. And I think some people will, have figured it out by, I think maybe chapter 4.
I just think the cover is really beautiful, and that it was a tree with a woman and the leaves and her arms. I think it's really pretty.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Awesome. So, and as far as the title itself, so anyway, as far as the Lady in the Tribe, what did you kind of think? What were your expectations of what was going to be inside?
Well, Brenda, I'm probably cheating a little bit, but I think that I knew that it was inclusive, and I knew that it was, I think the title it insinuates the circles and the tight-knit groups like families, and so I think that the title, well, and the beginning of the books for sure kind of lives up to that. So I love it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, because it's one of those titles that just kind of landed. I got like, oh, this is it. This is it. It was what I was actually had been writing the book, and I didn't know what to call it, find your tribe, and then I had this, of course, Lady and the Tramp, everybody thinks of that, what it always comes up when I'm searching for my book. Lady and the Tramp comes up first. So, but I thought, oh, Lady and the Tribe, I like that. So thank you for your feedback on that. So, when I was really concerned about using the word tribe, though, because I knew how endeared I was to the reasons behind selecting that word. But I also know it has some cultural and social, things attached to it. I didn't want to in any way be disrespectful to the Native American culture or anything like that, because I only want to use the word in the highest regard. And that's why it was so convenient, and that I had one of my tribe is Native American. And I thought, we were talking about it one day, because I was like, is this okay? I just want to make sure that that I'm not offending anyone in any way, and but I feel very strongly that this should be the title. And Michelle, we had visited about it, and that's why I invited her to write the foreword, which you will find in the beginning of the book. And it's beautiful and so eloquently said. And I was just so honored to have her add that to my work of from my heart. So I've asked Michelle to be here today, and Michelle, would you go ahead and talk about whatever you're sparked to share around that?
Yeah, well, thank you. I love your book, and I love book clubs, and we've done a lot of them before, and I think I always looked at Lady in the Tribe as the perfect book club book, and a way to connect women and over these chapters and these things. So I just want to say congratulations and letting us be part of the club. But I was thinking about sort of what my intentions were in for communication in the foreword, and I think that really what it was to address sort of and help resolve that whole feeling and sensitivity that you had to sort of the cultural appropriation of the word tribe in the choice for your book title. And so, I think that a lot of times well-intended non-native people, how do we even know when we're appropriating? That's kind of a term that we hear in our midlife circles that we didn't necessarily grow up with. Not everyone, but we hear it now. What is cultural appropriation? And so I think some examples that are kind of out there that are pretty typical, or people will call something their spirit animal, or they might have dream catchers, or they might refer to certain customs or certain styles of dress as something that is Native American, or that is very natural, or whatever they might attach to that. And so I think that the test for that, how we know we're doing that, the test for that is really easy. Are we culturally appropriating something that did not come from us? Then it isn't for us to take and to use as we normally would. And that word tribe is, that's, it's kind of maybe on the line a little bit. And so to not be appropriating, then that term must be given. And so anyway, how do we avoid dishonoring what a Native culture holds sacred and holy? How do we not accidentally step on that line? And I think it comes from exactly what we did with the foreword, exactly what I did and intended in the foreword, and that is from acknowledgments. I think it's from sensitivity and awareness, like this right now. And I think it comes from just an exchange of honoring and blessings. It's being given. And so that's really what I wanted to do. And so, what's a Native person getting involved in a book with the title of Tribe? What's the purpose of that? And I think my answer to that has just been reciprocity. And, we hear that term a lot and don't really think a lot about what it means, but it means giving and taking. And sometimes in our world now, we don't necessarily, and historically, we've never done that in exactly the right order. Sometimes we take and have to give back. And so I like the definition of reciprocity being that we sort of restore a balance. So if the rest of the book is giving us a lot of tribe, then I think that taking a shared definition that brings some balance in the foreword to address it was really the intention and the purpose. And so being Lakota, the two values that are most highly regarded within my culture are humility and determination. And Brenda has always, not just in this book, but in life over many years as a close sister, Brenda has consistently embodied both of those to me in my life. So I gave that blessing. I was blessed to have the honor of being acknowledged by Brenda, seen and valued and never appropriated, and to honor and to bless the book title for its purpose. And its purpose is bringing women into their circles. And that is, and always has been, my ancestors' sacred mission and culture. So really, it's just the perfect fit, Brenda.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. It was the perfect fit. Absolutely. I see, Gilbert, I see you have a question. If anyone else has any comments or feedback for Michelle, I want you to have the opportunity right now. Gilbert, did you want to say something? Gilbert's got to go. I'm sorry, Gilbert. We'll see you later. All right. People have nothing better to do, right? Nothing better to do on a Wednesday night.
That's crazy. What a weirdo.
Luckily, I can edit all that out, but that was uncomfortable. And Tammy, thank you. So Tammy, did you have anything else to say before we kind of move on to chapter 1?
No.
Okay, awesome. So, phew, okay, the pressure's off because I was watching them like a hawk and that was kind of giving me a headache. But I wanted to be inclusive too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really hard. You want to be inclusive and not assume that people are being jerks, but whatever.
You did fabulous.
Thank you. All right, so chapter 1 is the awakening. And, when I was in the middle of my funk years, and I think you all know my story of kind of just letting myself go. And it's letting myself go into my roles and kind of just feeling funky for 2 years. I mean, it was more than 2 years, just waking up every day and just going, just why am I not excited about anything? What's wrong with me? I started researching these feelings that I was having, Googling them, basically. Why am I unhappy? Why am I discontent? My life is great. Why am I unhappy? Why don't I have any motivation to do anything? And what kept coming up over and over in my search results was loneliness, which I thought was ridiculous because I was surrounded by people 24/7. And I had, lots of people on social media. I was connected. But why is loneliness? It keeps coming up. And, when I really hunkered down, I realized that loneliness doesn't require that we be isolated. Loneliness just means that we are not feeling seen. And we aren't feeling, maybe you would know where we belong anymore. Maybe we once did, and we don't have that feeling anymore. So, how can I be lonely? Weird. So in chapter 1, was there anything that stood out in particular for either of you guys that you would like to, share or discuss?
Brenda, I guess the standout thing for me was the first time that I read it, and is just that statistic. A lot of the statistics around loneliness, and I didn't need statistics, to validate that was true of me and of many people, and many girlfriends and friends that I knew. But somehow you're presenting it just made me acknowledge it a little bit more, and just say, if that's how I'm feeling, then I think I can imagine that's how many people are feeling.
Did you
loneliness.
go through? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
Did you actually feel? Were you able to say, yeah, that was loneliness that I was feeling at some point?
Yeah. Well, not before, really. Not before I connected that dot to say, then what is it? Because it's all the things you said. It's the busyness, and it's the commitments, and it's all those things that come together. You don't actually realize that you are lonely before you're too busy. How could I to be so lonely or be so empty? And then realizing how many people really are in that same situation, it just kind of became like an understanding of other people that I adopted then, because I was like, wow, if that's me, then that's true for me, then it must be true for others. And I started to look at other people a little differently.
Yeah.
We're all so much more the same than we are different.
That is the truth. That is so the truth. Well, Tammy, I want to ask you this. Was there anything in the story or anything that you particularly related to in that section that surprised you, or in good or bad way, or you just felt like, yeah, I feel that?
No, I really related to it with moving and moving somewhere new and not having friends. I could really relate to that.
Yeah. So share with Michelle a little bit about your move and what that's been like.
Oh, yeah, I moved here in 2019, so it was just hard to meet people. And even when you meet people, it doesn't always mean you like them. So you could meet people, but if it's not someone you want to hang out with, you're kind of back to square one. So it takes a while.
Yeah. Awesome. Wow. Okay. So I don't really have anything more to share about just that first chapter. Basically, it was a lot of, data on the research of loneliness, and basically how, we had a loneliness problem in the country before, COVID. So can you imagine how people just further became reclusive and disconnected? And social media, I mean, it's just a double-edged sword, right? So the second chapter is the lady, and really the whole book, it's called, Lady of the Tribe. It's about friendship and building connections, but it's really about the lady. And the lady is the most important piece of this work. And, I've always been drawn to the tree of life. And that's why when we were doing the book design, I just really felt drawn to the fact that, and I felt like it was a big mirror into, the roots, that who we are starts with the seed, which is our parents, and the way we were raised and where we lived and who was in our life. And that foundation can either be super strong and those roots go deep and wide, or they can be not as healthy and not as strong. And that is what grows into the trunk, which is our, inner being, our soul, our, core essence. And the branches that really lift and support our lives are those relationships, especially friendship, because, our spouse is important in our life, and many people call them their best friend, but that's a lot of pressure for one person. We need to have, these branches, and many of them, to explore different areas of our lives and interests that we have that one person won't have the same capacity for. And so those branches and those relationships that we grow together become strong, and they lift us up higher and higher. And then the leaves that flourish basically represents us living our best life. And some parts of our life are in growth phases, and sometimes we are hibernating, or it's the winter. And I wanted to just kind of ask each of you, what season is your tree in right now? And did you have any, what were your thoughts and comments on this chapter?
I bet I'm in a hibernating. That's interesting that you said that, because it actually came across to me earlier this week that I'm in a store up my energy kind of season.
Yeah, I get it. What about you, Tammy?
I think I'm just kind of in a plateau. I don't know what that is. Like, I'm not going down. I have some friends, and it's not really growing, but it's just kind of there, So I'm just kind of, I don't know what that would be, if that's spring or winter, or I'm
maybe on the cusp of spring, maybe.
Yes, yeah. I'm still working on meeting people, so.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, any other thoughts about chapter 2 before I go to chapter 3? We may get done early, since it's a small group. It's easy to do.
Right. Yeah, no, I didn't have any more.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. So chapter 3 is it's called The Good, the Fat, and the Ugly. And it's basically kind of, relationships can be super complicated, especially if they're important, to you, and you're giving them your time and your energy. And many times you may not even really know what a friend's true intentions are, or what their commitments are, what's going on in their life. Maybe you don't even know yet. Maybe it's not at that level yet. And this is something you're really going to want to sift through to, as you identify people who you might want to build your tribe with. And, there's some different types of friendships that I went over, the frenemies and friendlies and friends and all that. And I just wanted to say, are there any parts of this section that got you thinking or brought up memories that you can share? And I'll start with you, Tammy, this time.
Yeah, I thought of this person I used to know where I used to work, and I liked her, and I thought she was like a friend. And then one day I said, do you want to be my Facebook friend? And I can add you on Facebook. And she goes, oh, I never go on there. Like she's like acting like she has a Facebook account, but she doesn't use it. Like, oh, I just have it because my daughter is on it, but I never go on it. And later I was like, it's just her way of saying she didn't want to. And I was always like, that's kind of shitty. Like, like,
Yeah.
I was always like, that's like, I don't know, it was kind of crappy. So I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, they're nice to you because you're at work, but they're not like wanting to be Facebook friends with you or spend time with you. So yeah. there's people like that. And then if you don't see it coming, it's kind of like weird. It feels weird.
It hurts. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good at all when you kind of made a move or a suggestion to kind of move even just a baby step forward in a relationship, and you get that kind of response. Doesn't feel good. So I want to acknowledge you for that, and I'm going to say that's not okay. That was not very nice. So
yeah,
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What about you, Michelle?
Yeah, I think I've been in that situation. In fact, actually, maybe even just today, an old friend called, and she just, I mean, like old, like we've been friends for a really long time, and she dumped a whole lot of expectations of, not of me, but like of our friend group, of our tribe, and all her expectations and all her disappointments is she definitely wanted to be listened to, that she was hurt, and all of those things. So it I don't know, I'm not sure how to relate it exactly to one of the types in the one of the typecasts from the chapter, but I think that's probably the not able to categorize the intentions in the friendship kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just, it ends up feeling icky, even though your intentions might be everything great. It just feels super, super icky. Like, what are they getting at? And why are you telling me this? And, I don't know, make stuff you make up about underlying motives and things like that. That it's just, I don't know, it's a lot of confusing and negative energy. And you just don't walk away from feeling very confident or feeling very secure in that relationship. Very ick, happens from time to time. Like, what is that? All I am to you is, and if you're busy telling me about somebody else, everybody else not meeting your expectation, who are you calling next? And sometimes in old friendships, things have just worn out. And honestly, that was my suggestion to her was, well, why don't you start fresh with these people, and because there's nothing like a good reset button in a friendship for everybody to sort of be able to tune up and tune in and get a little bit more committed. And even old friends you can pretend are brand new, treasured, valued friends.
Yeah, or maybe it's time to move on, and that happens sometimes too. And we'll talk about that more later in the book. Sometimes relationships just change. They were really tribal, and they kind of became something else because of life happening and priorities changing and people moving and all kinds of different things. But so it could be friendly's behavior, it could be, but when you start feeling not icky about it, that's kind of like more frenemy territory. Someone that's kind of like nice to get something out of it, or they need you for something. So those are the ones to just be aware of and to go, you start feeling that and you go, especially if it's newer in the relationship, you go, yeah, you're not the one, right? And you keep looking because that they are out there. This chapter also has the friendship equation, which is time, attention, and enthusiasm. That's what it takes to build a friendship, because friendship is more than friends. Friends can be anybody. Friends can be your coworkers, and there's the people that you pass on a regular basis, but the friendship requires action and time. That's kind of the number one thing that that people who find themselves kind of disconnected, they haven't been making the decision to put time into relationship building. Since you're not living with them like your spouse, you've got to actually carve out time and make appointments and get together to build. And we don't have a lot of time, and the attention piece is like when you are together, you are, looking at each other and you're not distracted by devices and dings and things. You put those things away so that you can be completely present with each other. And then the enthusiasm piece is like, when you come home and the kids used to love and run up and give you love, woohoo, mommy's home, or the dog, they don't do that as much anymore. The dog's old, and he maybe lifts his head, and the kids are like, yeah, you get that a little bit different, but it's different. We as girlfriends can provide that enthusiasm, because I truly am excited to see my girlfriends when I see them and give them big hugs and say, yay, it's been so long, I miss you, yay. But I just wanted to ask you guys, and this is kind of a duh, but and Michelle, I'll start with you. How do you feel when you're with someone and they're constantly on their device or distracted by something?
I feel so ignored. I feel unimportant.
Yeah. And that's probably not at all true, though. Right?
Maybe not, but
Probably.
I committed, the time, the attention, and the enthusiasm to being present, and it makes me feel like I'm not valued enough to to have the same thing in exchange.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't feel like that, but that is how it makes me feel. It makes me feel minimized.
Yeah. I agree with you. And Tammy, did that ring any bells for you? Do you have any relationships like that? Or how does that make you feel just hearing that?
I don't really have any friends that do that, but no, yeah, it doesn't, you don't feel special like when that's happening. So it's kind of like, well, why am I here?
Yeah, totally. So it's like, I think it's just always a good, plan, even to bring it up if you're having lunch with someone who may be guilty of that sometimes. I mean, I've been guilty of it, but just go, hey, let's just put our phones away, me and you both, because we don't get to see each other that much, and just putting it out there that let's do that for each other, because you are that important to me and I don't want any question about it. So I think that's just one little practice. All right, let's just move on to chapter 4, the tribe. And Michelle's my resident expert on the tribe, but I'm passionate about the fact in my heart that it's a fact in my heart. Is that a thing? I think so. It's a fact in my heart that
you live your truth.
It's my truth that our friendships, in tribal friendships, are near us, living with our life with us. And that is really one of the reasons I chose the word tribe, and why it resonated with me so strongly is because, a customary tribe is a close-knit, face-to-face community, bound in, by vicinity of sorts and community, and you're actually able to see each other in person regularly. So the equation for tribe is friendship, which is time, attention, and enthusiasm. And then adding in space, which is proximity, being close, plus vulnerability. And, there's a lot of friendships that you're going to have that are very important to you, but they may be distant. And that doesn't mean they're not very, very important. They're, as far as my definition goes, though, they are actually beyond a tribe. They may be a soul sister or something to that effect. But I'm going to ask you first, Tammy, what are some benefits that you can see that you would appreciate, or maybe some that you have appreciated, when you're actually able to be together versus a Zoom or versus a phone call? What are some of the benefits that you can achieve, get out of that?
It's just funner to see people in person and see what they're wearing and see their hair, and just I don't know, I think you catch more of their reactions, or if someone's chuckling, or you kind of hear and see everybody's reaction a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. What about you, Michelle?
I think a benefit is, I don't know, it's like the shared, especially tribe level people, right? It's like the shared sort of energy, or the vibration, or the harmony of being in proximity, like in somebody else's field, in someone else's aura, that like when you're together that closely, your hearts start, people start menstruating at the same time, if they're really close and spend a lot of time around each other, and your heartbeat is sort of at that same level and rhythm. And so if you're up or you're down, you kind of balance each other out. And if I get together with my bestie and she's in a super, super awesome mood, I'm lifted by that. And that I'm not going to get that on Facebook, and I'm not going to get that on Zoom. Better face to face on Zoom than camera off. But there's something about being close, and frequency, frequency, too much time in between, and you don't get to have that benefit.
Right. I agree with you. And I mean, there is vibration's real. I mean, it is that energy that you get off of each other, good and bad. I mean, and maybe we need to, have empathy come, whatever it is, it's going to move us in our soul. And what about just hugs, right? Can't do that virtually. Just getting a squeeze, that we need. How many hugs we're supposed to have a day? We're supposed to have a lot of hugs. I think it's in the book somewhere, but we need hugs, and can't get that virtually. One thing a tribe is not, I think it's really important in this section to talk about what a tribe is not. And a tribe is not a clique. It is not this pack of women that are running around bar hopping together, doing things on the weekends. It's not that at all. Your tribe is going to be unique to you and include your closest personal friends. And your closest personal friend may not have the same exact group of closest personal friends. So, that your tribe may not even hang out together, possibly. It's the people that you call upon for support, and you provide support, and you're living your life together. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll get to spend some time together sometimes, but it's not a clique, and it's not this group that is impenetrable, this exclusive group of women. This is not what it looks like. It's who's important to you. So any questions or comments on any of that before we kind of move on to chapter 5? Okay. All right. The leader of your tribe, chapter 5. Again, we're going back to what a tribe is. And when you think of a tribe or a group of any sorts, you kind of think there's probably a leader, right? Most of the time, if there's a group, there's someone in charge. and that's true in most cases, but not in a tribe. Only there, because we are the leader of our own tribe. We have to be the leader of our own tribe. And so if we consider that we're not this pack of people running around following orders, or someone always making, coming up with stuff for us to do, which sometimes still does happen. There's always people who like to make things happen. And then there's others who love to just support and come along, and we gotta love those people. I love those people. But again, it's the members of your close knit. So as the leader, it's your responsibility to keep that relationship going. Your tribe is made up of individual relationships, and we are the glue. So how does that feel? And I'll start with you, Michelle. How does that feel to say you are a leader? Do you like being a leader?
I do in the friendship sense. I really do. And maybe it's better to say I like setting the tone of, so it's not a coffee clutch and a gossip or, bitching session kind of thing, right? I like setting the tone of those connections. And so I guess I do like being, and your life lines depend on it, right? You can't, if you are trying to make your friends, you're trying to be supported and have an exchange with others, that you may not be able to wait around for them to come to you. And so even if you're not in a role called leader, but you are taking a lead, that has a ripple effect to the other women's. That's only, that's just goodness, and it comes back to you. So I like that part. It's exciting to me because I get to set the tone, and it's the tone that feeds my soul.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, but sometimes you get into a situation where you feel like you're always the one, right? Always the one when it's even a two-way. Have you ever had that happen? And how, what do you personally do then?
Me?
I know I'm really putting you on the spot here.
No, I was just laughing because according to my girlfriend who called me today, according to my friend, that if I don't do that, then if I'm not taking the lead and I wait for somebody else to do it, then it may not happen, and then I lose and everybody loses. So at least it's perceived that way. So
right.
Yeah, I think I just feel like I lose if I am not willing to be that committed and keep that commitment.
Right. I feel that. I understand that.
Yeah.
Tammy, what about you? How do you feel about like having to be the leader?
I think sometimes it's good because you can kind of pick what you want to do, but sometimes it's too much pressure because you overthink like picking something that other people will want to do, and it's like, and you overthink it, like, are they gonna like doing this? And so I think it's good if it's spread around, like who's choosing where to go and stuff like that, so you don't have all the pressure of like feeling like trying to think, oh, are they gonna like it? And so I think it's good to balance it out.
Yeah, it is. It's good to feel like you're not the one having to put all the energy out there all the time. So what are some of the things that you have done, Tammy, to like, what ideas have you had to do things with friends? What kind of things do you like to organize?
I like movies and coffee and happy hour and brunch.
I love all those things.
Yeah.
Michelle's going, yeah.
That's what I've been doing lately, or just going to listen to live music, like for St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to do that, my friends.
Nice. Those are some good ideas. Awesome. So this chapter towards the end also has a little work for you on your part. And Michelle, you probably remember the fill in the blanks of kind of figure out what your why is and what's important to you and your values. Because here's the thing, I mean, with all that's happened over the last 5 years or so, so much coming at us, a lot of negativity, a lot of conflict, and we don't even really know some of the things we value anymore. We're not like connected to even our own like knowing sometimes. So there was some work to be done, and I think I'm just going to leave that. Unless I don't know, unless Tammy, you filled it out already. I was going to have it as an assignment for next time for us to kind of share a little bit of what our insights were through that work, those prompts. What do you think?
No, I didn't fill it out.
Okay, that's all right. Well, so for next time, I think maybe we'll just start with that, because it is really the core of the work is to figure out our own, what's important to us. And when we can figure out, what is meaningful, what are the things we like to do, what are the things we don't ever want to do again, you ask the series of questions, and then you go from that perspective as you're launching rockets basically of who you do want to attract, because you'll see it once you identify it, you'll see it and you'll attract it to you, versus the things that, if we don't have this vision, we're just kind of like, things are just hitting us randomly, energetically speaking. Wouldn't you say, Michelle? Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll do that for next time. And I just want to ask each of you real quick, Michelle, what's your favorite part of the book so far? And your least favorite part?
Oh, well, my chapter 6 is my favorite part, right? Oh, no, maybe it's 8. Our chapter.
Yes, that's a good chapter.
No, when you get into the roles of, and is it 6 or is it 8?
Honestly, I'd have to look myself.
Okay, good. I'm glad you don't know either. That's good. Right off the top of your head. But I like when you get to describing the different roles and types of friendships that make up sort of the whole. And what I was my breakthrough the most was how I play different roles in different groups. Mm-hmm. And in different tribe groups, and knowing that I myself can be the shapeshifter when it's somebody else's tribe, like you said, it's the leader of your own tribe, even though I might be a part of your tribe, Brenda, and you are part of my tribe. But when acknowledging that there are these different roles, and that we're never always one thing, and that we have wit and breadth to us as women, and that who we are, how we're fulfilled in different situations and groups. That's my favorite part. But obviously our chapter on the soul seraph is my favorite, because I think that has, I don't know, I think that has become my, I'm very proud of that. Like I'm like I've mastered it in that area. And so that's probably my favorite chapter, but it fits into all of those roles.
Yeah. I love that chapter also. Awesome. Tammy, what about you so far? We're just getting started, but anything stick out right now as a favorite or not so favorite?
I thought the part about the quadrants of how you spend your time was beneficial.
Cool. Are you a little bit analytical?
Well, sometimes.
I'm just curious, because the quadrants, it's a visual, where that helps.
Right. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. All right. And I guess one last question. How does the book make you feel when you're reading it? Does it make you feel I've heard of a number of things and it's all over the board. So I'm just curious as to like, do you feel alone? Do you feel like you're not alone anymore? What comes to mind?
I think a lot of it resonated, like with different time periods of my life of different friend groups I had. So I think it was good. It resonated a lot, and I think it was really enlightening.
Awesome, thank you. What about you, Michelle?
I love this book. It makes me feel good. I think it makes me feel validated. Like I have adopted all of these things, and it makes it's like it's validating that it works. And that I'm also love sharing it. Because if it makes me feel that good and makes me feel that okay and that seen and that heard, then I know it's going to make all of my people, all of my friends or anybody who's struggling and looking for like the tangible practicals to feeling better and having a solid group of women around them. So
Right.
yeah, it makes me feel super, super good to have it and to share it.
Thank you. I know you do, and I really appreciate that. You've been a champion for me in this book, and I really appreciate that very much.
Yeah, always.
Okay, so for next time, real quick, I'm just going to we're going to just do a little bit of housekeeping. I think chapters 6 chapters. Wait, hold on. How many chapters are left? We have 8. Okay, 4 more chapters. So we're going to do 6, 7, 8, 9. And this is an easy, fast read. And Tammy, you're already maybe even past that. So that's what we're going to be talking about, though, on the next call, which will be Wednesday, the 12th of, what is it, April? of April. And so go ahead and put, let me see if keep the same link in, put it in your calendar because it'll be the same link every month. As far as what are your thoughts on, because of just the little precarious situation we had at the beginning here, should we require cameras on? And what do you think about?
I don't think
just
men should be participating. I'm sorry. I don't see what they're going to get out of the book. And I think they should have their cameras on. I think if someone's going to join, unless, I don't even know why you would turn it off unless you have to, I don't know, blow your nose or something.
Right.
I was thinking that I couldn't imagine how much worse it would have been if the camera was. I was like, I'm probably glad.
No, that's true in that case. Yeah.
But
yeah, that might be something you'd want to do if it's up to you.
Yeah. So I did mute and I did kick that guy out. Like as soon as I heard him say diarrhea out. But I think I will publish in every place that we do require cameras on, no exceptions, except for when you're moving around or whatever. And I think I should just make it female only. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think there's very few creepy women in percentage wise compared to men. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. And I've helped someone with a presentation before where there was film stuff happening that I had to go, and that's so uncomfortable. And it's so hard for the presenter to deal with those shenanigans. But anyway, thank you for your grace and through that and being supportive and helping, and thank you and helping me out with knowing what was happening there. So that's great. So for next time, anything else before we wrap it up?
Lots of love and light. I hope you guys have wonderful, great weeks.
Yeah, it was great to meet you, Michelle.
You too, Tammy.
Well, and this is perfect. When 3 or more gather,
we
are
a
tribe.
tribe.
All right, ladies. So we're out a little early, but so I'm going to edit this up and just get rid of them and let the other people who missed it today get on board. Hopefully next month we'll have at least twice as many, I think.
Awesome. Thank you, Brenda.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Good night, guys.
Bye.